So welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice coffee break and that you had time to chat to the students from the design faculty at the university in Gothenburg, and also the exhibitors from the project Design for Energy Efficient Everyday Life. Björn, I can see you. Did you get any guests? Are you satisfied? Yes, thumbs up. Great. Yes, and everybody in here, we know we have to change our behavior, and we also have to accelerate the pace of change to reach the sustainable Nordic and Baltic region. So the big question is, what can we do? What can each one of us do? And I hope this panel can answer that. Thank you. Okay, I would like to present this wonderful panel. And I, of course, start with a woman. Audronė Drungilaitė. Perfect. It's a hard word to pronounce. You are a professional designer and promoter of Lithuanian design globally. And you had led the Lithuanian Design Forum. You've been in the board for BEDA, that's the Bureau of European Design Associations. And you have been the advisor for the Ministry of Culture in Lithuania. And currently, you work as a director for Design Innovation Center at Vilnius Academy of Arts. So please welcome. She can have a big hand. And then we have Reigo Lehtla. Great. And he's not a designer, but he's an environmental expert with extensive international experience. Among other things, you have been working as an environmental advisor for the European Commission. And now you're the advisor of the Association of Estonian Cities and Municipalities. And you are supporting the country's 79 municipalities in the green transition.
Precisely.
Great. And then we have Björn Nordin, whom you already met. And he's a future strategist and a network engineer, but your soul is in furniture carpentry, right? Yes. And all the chairs on the wall.
Yeah,
yes,
all the chairs here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And currently you are the CEO of Svensk. In English, it's the Swedish Society of Crafts and Design. And actually, that's the oldest design association in the world.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing, yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to comment on that?
Established 1845.
1845.
Yeah, so it's...
Now you're supposed to say, ooh. Yeah, it's really amazing, and we are, of course, very proud of that. So, what do you think about the day and all the presentations you have heard during the day? Maybe, Reigo, do you want to comment on that?
Well, I came here to see the people who are working on design and sustainability here in Nordic countries, and possibly to find new project partners for the future.
And how did it go? Did you meet anybody?
I have established several contacts already, yes.
That's great. That's also worth a big hand, right? Great, and the title of the panel, it's How Can We Use Design to Create a Sustainable Communities and Lifestyles? And it's a pretty big question. But do you want to try, Audronė?
I think we could talk about that for several days. But what I see and what I'm really happy to see here today, that more and more people are taking the leadership towards delivering and creating that more sustainable society. And I do believe that any society cannot exist without that kind of leadership. And it's some kind of relationship, more or less pretty much the same society, family, tiny business, but still there should be a respect, there should be ethics, there should be, of course, the leadership. At the same time, there should be the same goal, and it doesn't matter, there was a guy from the Workland, so we should have these coffee machines in the co-working spaces. So these are the places where people want to go and where they gather. So I do believe that sustainable communities should have their own coffee machines inside where people could come and change ideas, and there should be that coffee or something else, but there should be the goal why they do that. At the same time, I also believe that it should be paid, but that's another topic.
Okay. Yeah, and Björn, many companies and municipalities are working to become more sustainable. And how can you add design to this change?
Yeah, design is a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool, but it's not all. You need to come together, everyone, in the value change, I think. So that's interesting when you add design to engineering or to other things in the value change. I think we can get more of that.
Yeah, and also
when you do
we were listening to Drive Oslo.
Yes.
That's a good project. You work with collaboration between academia, the private business, and also the public sector. So we have to gather all those around the coffee machine you're talking about, or the fireplace. So what do you think about that, Reigo?
Well, yes, I think that we need to go after the roots. And for me, the roots are the energy and how the energy is derived. So that's we should get rid of the burning, at first burning of fossil fuels. So therefore, we need to take into the usage the renewable energy, and secondly, replace the transport infrastructure to the electric and other zero-emission public transport means. That's the for going the routes, and then everything else coming after that.
Yeah, so we should start with the roots, but how do you can you see that a collaboration is important between the municipalities, the academia, the private businesses, and the...
Sure, because that's about the circular economy, and for example, municipalities, they can't do it alone. Municipalities, they need support from the industrial enterprises and academia, how to build up this circular economy cycle, so that everything goes back to the production again, the material flow. That's what we need to build up.
Yes. If we think about what we've been listening to today, Björn, what's your reflection? Now you mentioned collaboration like Drive, but how do you...
I think all have talking about planetary boundaries, and that's a high level. But I think that's the main goal, the planetary boundaries, and UN has set goals now for more biodiversity. So I think it's the main goal to go to the planetary boundaries and not go out of them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And when you're thinking about that, you think like the UN, and not the UN, EU, they have this trace that you should be able to trace the materials.
Yeah.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, and have you heard about the product pass? The product pass from EU. It's very important, because if you can trace all the materials that I'm talking about in the beginning, then it's easier to go circular also. If you can trace the material from the first, then you can go circular and use it more and more in more and more products also. So that's really important, that we take in the technical things with digital in the whole value chain.
Yeah, and this is new from 2022. So you trace actually live animals, textile, and the forestry also.
Yeah, and also all the raw material that you use in clothes and other things, and furniture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any comment on that, Audronė?
Honestly, I think we should not only traceability is a good thing, but we should also think how much we consume, and do we really need that? Because traceability is a one thing, and so what that we know where it came from, but we should then later bring it back, or we should know how to reuse it, or sometimes maybe we don't need that material, or we don't need so many. I know we have so many chairs here on the wall, so how many do we really need more? So shall we fix these that we have, or so it's traceability, I think, yes, it brings more wider understanding where the materials comes from, and that they don't come just from the sky. But on the other side, we can check how they are ethically sourced, but at the same time, I think first of all, we should discuss with ourselves how much of these new materials we need.
Yes, and Retjo, you've been an advisor for the European Commission.
Yeah. There is actually a series of ISO standards for this traceability and so on. I assume it's built on the life cycle assessment series, yeah. And from the life cycle assessment, ISO standards derived environmental product declaration, which is very close to your concept you described. Well, yeah, we had a project in Estonia about introducing the life cycle assessment, and yeah, I was involved to that.
Yeah, you've been working in many different countries. So which country is in the forefront?
You mean in forefront of the environmental awareness?
Yes.
Well, in Europe, undoubtedly Nordic countries. They have been like lighthouse of environmental awareness and environmental protection for decades, and they are still. We often go to the study visits to Finland, Sweden, Norway to see how to implement in practical terms the circular economy. How does the circular economy stations look like, and how to convince people to use them, and so on. That's something which we are just about to adopt.
Yeah, and we are really happy to hear that the Nordic countries are in the forefront. So do you have any good examples from Sweden, Björn?
From Sweden, yes, we have a lot of examples, but we have companies like SSAB, fossil-free steel, that we use more and more, less and less carbon dioxide. We have IKEA that will go complete circular to 2030. Let's see if they do that, but they have a goal, and it's good to have a goal there also. But we have also projects like we will see after this. It's Sun in My Backyard, when you have taken designers to a more engineer type of products and see what we can do with that. So that we will see more about that after.
And do you have any good examples from your country you want to tell us about?
Of course, we have always some good examples, better and better each day. But I would like maybe to mention the Design Wings project. Welcome all to Google about it. But it's a tiny success story, and I think that's the part of Lithuanian design history that this is my extracurriculum activity, where just during one day when we were sitting at the Ministry of Culture with a bit of money that nobody knew how to spend that. So I asked that maybe we could use 1 million euros for developing a design business support program, and it's non-financial. So the ministry said yes, and with the support of the local community, we managed to establish the program where we gather design graduates, because during pandemics, for them it was pretty hard to get the job, and we really wanted them to not just go to work at the cashier desk, but to do what they were trained to do. So then we found out that companies, they're also lacking design services, but during pandemics, this was definitely not the priority, because they were trying to just simply cover some, let's say, more important expenses. And then we had fantastic mentors who had the knowledge, and during pandemics, they also had some time that they can deliver. So all these activities were paid, so we matched them, we had a training, and then during the 2 terms of 5 months, there were 36 companies served, and 16 design graduates employed. So companies received design services, and designers were working on circular and digital solutions, but the government basically was paying for that, so companies didn't have to invest in that. Designers were employed, people who have the knowledge, they have a chance to share, and the program is prolonged for the next 3 years with a 3 million euros
Yeah, woo!
budget. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's really, really good. And it's a lot of money.
yeah,
So-
that's the biggest money that the Lithuanian any design program, or even design sector received in the last years. So for us, according to the average salary, that's a huge amount of money.
Yeah. Do we have anything similar in Sweden, Björn?
I don't have anything now, but we will see. We will see.
You're doing
But
something
but
like
but
that.
you do a lot for young designers, right?
Yeah,
we might not have as much money as you do, but
No,
First time we have more
not
money
so
than
much.
you do.
But we of course have the project for young designers. Yes.
Yes.
But not so much money into it. But maybe in future. Maybe.
maybe you can help us with that, Reggio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will. In this sense, I'll go for the separation of the waste streams. That now the next target, which is from the next year, we have to separate the textile waste. So it's going to be separated stream. So designers have free hands to figure out what to do with this stream of different textile tissues, because it's compulsory by the European directives to separate it from the next year, but we still don't have the proper solutions, industrial solutions, how to reuse it. So designers are welcome to figure out what
Yeah,
to
and
do.
actually tomorrow we're going to talk more about
Yeah.
fashion and textiles.
We more or less we have solved the problems with bio-waste. It's now separated, and we have biogas stations in Estonia which are producing biogas, and it finds its way to the public transport as biofuel. But now next problem will be textile. Right?
Yeah, we have to look at all the different businesses, of course, and everybody has to be part of this transition. But we heard about some really lovely projects, like the Meadow one. They made a lot of, they made a big change with almost no money. So of course it's good with money, but you don't really need it. And I wanted you to tell us about Ung Svensk Form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The young Swedish designer, yeah, it's a competence project that we have at Svensk Form, and it's for I say both designers, architects, the graphic designers, everything, and where we also have a scholarship from companies in Sweden. So they have a IKEA scholarship, like 3 months working at IKEA, or we have a scholarship from forest industries that they will be going to the forest and to the industry in 4 days, 9 of them. So it's a interesting project, and I think we can get more out of that in the future also.
Yeah. Do you have anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but you have been working with the environment for a very long time, and now you're actually helping the 79 municipalities in your country.
Yeah.
So you're saying we have to start with the roots, but what can you actually do in the municipalities? Because I guess some of them have money, but maybe some of them doesn't have anything at all.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago, we have such a commission as Sustainable Development Commission at the State Chancellery, and I'm member of this committee of this commission, and we ordered a study from Tartu University what actually the municipalities should do to conduct this green transition, and they conducted this study and came up with this research paper and a number of recommendations for the municipalities. And now it should be like a table book for municipalities who want to do this green transition. And the next step was that we formed such an initiative group of the forerunners more of our municipalities, and we have like 15 or 18 of them now in this initiative group, and we are conducting the activities and learning how to conduct this green transition. And well, basically, yeah, what they could do, they could municipalities have opportunity to rearrange the public transport, the lightings, and of course supply the solar power plants to the public buildings, to renovate the public buildings, to decrease the energy losses, and yeah, those are the first things they could do.
Yeah, and how do you work in Lithuania to use design to work with the municipalities?
I think there's a bit of trend for rebranding, which looks a little bit like floating on the surface. But through the rebranding projects, you can really seed the seed about design. And when you involve the community and you showcase that, you know, we all should agree about the branding of the city and positioning of the city. So then decision makers on the municipalities, sometimes they figure out that, okay, maybe we can implement a little bit further. So several municipalities did rebranding, and there are a few agencies that are helping for them. So I see that there's a potential in that maybe through these tiny projects, they could find that it's possible to work with designers. Because the more I work with companies, the more I hear that it's a complicated community, you know. It's not, these people are still sometimes talking a different language than they do. So talking with the municipalities, and we're still trying to establish the connection with our local municipality, and it's not easy because governments are changing and people are changing, and you just talked with one person, then he or she is not there anymore. So I would say we struggle, but at the same time, there's a positive change, and more and more municipalities start to look that design could help to strengthen community instead of making some enemies that, you know, everybody hates the logo or everybody hates the solutions in the city. So I think design is helping to start the dialogue between people and municipality, I don't know, decision makers.
Yeah, the decision makers, yes. Yeah. Everybody in the room was writing on the papers, I hope you did. But one question was, what is your vision for a sustainable future? So what did you talk about with your friend? Start with Björn.
We talk about the economics because we need to change the economics that we have today. It needs to go to the planetary boundaries. And now it's only for growth. So yeah, we need to change the whole system for the economics.
Do you agree with that, Reigo?
Yeah, as I said, I'm going for the roads. Those are hitting the planetary boundaries the hardest right now, that we are still emitting too much greenhouse gases, so we need to replace the whole energy system, make it carbon-free, and secondly, transport. Those are the two largest emitters.
And Audronė?
I'm not sure is that not confidential, but as I'm the only lady, so I would like to say that money can't buy you love. And I would say that not only economics makes a difference, but also it's the people behaviors and the environment, how we build, how we create, and what kind of buildings do we sit, how many plants are in this room, and also about the food industry. So how much of eco products, local markets do we have, how they are accessible. So these tiny things, I think it's good to have these both ways, like looking from the top and looking from the bottom. So I hope that in one day, and we also discussed that as my discussion partner, she was from Research Institute. She is from Research Institute. So I see a lot of potential into these people who sometimes struggle maybe finding that dialogue with their colleagues. But I think as a designers community, we should really encourage them because they could make a huge difference. And with the new technologies, with new different solutions, with new models, we can definitely create a better and more sustainable future.
Yeah. And you, yeah, Björn.
But also take the small steps, just to see what you do with the products, and do you need a new chair, or can you have
Yeah, that's a sensitive topic for you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I also like furniture design a lot, and I was trained as a product designer, and chairs are my passion. But
That's good. That's really good.
yeah, but it's a hard topic.
Yeah, but it's a good point.
Both
Like
the
you,
little steps
yeah,
and
yeah, you need both the small steps and the big steps.
We need
Yeah.
good chairs because the world is so, and with the public procurement, honestly, and I see how many organizations struggle buying chairs, and I'm not sure how Roska Museum is satisfied with these ones, but not the worst solution at all. But still, we need good solutions. And talking about design is also oncoming, also working now with the education system. I see that we have so much bad design. And I think the goal should be having more high quality design, and well-skilled designers could do that. So not more, but less, but quality things.
Yes. And finally, a question, like you were talking about small steps. So what can each of us do to get a more sustainable future? What do you tell your children or the small people growing up? Not small people, the young people.
To not buy new stuff, to use it more, and to buy if you can, but all of us don't can. But if you can, buy more exclusive things, because they are often better.
Audronė?
I would encourage to think also a little bit local. That personally, for myself, I promised to go to the local market more often a few years ago. And I'm very satisfied with this decision because it helps me to eat healthier, because it helps to support local farmers, and I feel like I'm contributing for the whole society. So these tiny steps, like, I don't know the impact of my one visit to the local market, but at least I feel a little better person and a little bit more contributing for some kind of unified goal. So local production, I think, is the key. And I'm not nationalistic that, we should buy everything from our country. But instead, if there's a solution, and if you don't have another option, but you have to buy some things, we can talk about some bubbles that, no, we're not buying anything, but still sometimes you have to buy. So maybe you can find an alternative in your own country instead of transporting it somewhere from the other side of the world. And we have wonderful local products and wonderful local woods, hardwoods, sometimes, local food is less exotic, but, these apples, it could really be beneficial that we have in our garden. And sometimes you don't need to buy at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Reigo.
The key word here is the green procurements.
I'm sorry, what's it?
Green procurements. In the procurements, the price isn't the only argument, but you have to take into the consideration those environmental aspects also, and that also fits well with this local production. It could be one of those green procurement factors. And European Commission has started introducing those green procurements, but we should do it more quickly and more forcefully. By now it's applied for the Bureau of Furniture and cleaning agents and things like that, but what we really should do is use green procurements in construction and in building the infrastructure. That's huge environmental impact which we can save with that.
Okay, thank you so much. And please continue this discussion at the Mingle later on tonight. So big thank you to Björn, Audronė, and Reigo.